Thank you.
Come on, dude.
We're live.
We're live, baby.
Wow, what a way! What a way! What a way for the season to start. All
We're
right,
here.
guys. Well, we're live. I'm gonna do it. All right, welcome everyone to Blue Water League. We are here with the first week of the second season of Blue Water Diamond. However, if you've been watching Blue Water for a long time, we've been around for a lot longer. And to start us off, Fury, we've got TA Blue versus the Glue Eaters. That is one of the things that isn't going to catch me off guard, although I'm expecting a lot of the actual gameplay inside of today to be doing exactly that, since Blue Water is known for nothing if not insanity inside the games.
Yeah, it should be very action-packed, but more reserved. Not as much of a fiesta as we're typically used to when we're in gold and platinum. And yeah, the blue TA blue. There's contingent esports blue. There's glue eaters. There's so much that is going to be confusing with team names. I promise you, it'll come up over the weeks. But I am super excited to be back and now on the diamond desk. Just because I love casting diamond. I love casting the higher elos. It makes it. I don't know. I guess it's just easier to not necessarily predict, but it's one of those things where if a team is ahead, more than likely they are going to stay ahead and probably win the game. It's not like, 30, 40-minute fiestas where these guys can come back from a 10k gold deficit. If that happens in a diamond game, I'll be pleasantly surprised, but I don't expect it to happen.
I think a lot of it also comes down to, I mean, I know you, Fury, are a color caster, and so, you watch the game a lot, you have a lot of opinions about the game, and honestly, you analyze the game quite a bit. And so, when we do get to higher ELO games like this, you also have the opportunity to say things and perhaps even see them come true, see them
That's
happen on the
crazy.
screen in front of you. That gives a lot of serotonin. I do know that some of the things that we've been predicting are the drafts for tonight.
Yes.
As we've been prepping up on these teams and figuring out which of TA Blue and Glue Eaters is likely to come out on top. And we don't have predictions on that just yet because most of our rosters we haven't tested the relative strengths of just yet. But I wanted to get your opinion, Fury, on just going into the season, some of the teams that we could watch out for in the two divisions.
So realistically, just going by when we were going over the draw show, a lot of eyes on CBM&M, a lot of eyes on Decimate Legacy. Glacial Mafia are a big one as well. A lot of returning players in BOL Diamond. A lot of people that have been promoted from BOL Platinum that are now in Diamond, i.e. Cade to the 4th power tonight that we'll be seeing on Glue Eaters in the jungle. Promoted from Platinum to Diamond now. We'll see how he fares out versus not Wind Train, excuse me. I am Javi. But I'm excited to see how he plays. I think he's a very well-rounded jungler.
Let's do it. Since we're into the draft already, if we could get the draft law link, by the way, that would be much appreciated. Just so that we can watch these players do it on our screens as well. I know that we were talking about Cage of the Fourth and their matchup against Javi, and this is largely going to be a matchup where I think stylistically these teams are going to play pretty darn similar to each other. I think the biggest disparity for that is going to come from the mid 2v2, and I know that we touch on that a lot, but
Yeah.
where I think we see a lot of really heavy engage from Glue Eaters and Cade to the Fourth, I am Javi really likes maybe not nearly as much engage, but a lot more skirmish potential. And with melee champions also being prioritized by wind trading, I could see some really nice interactions in the river, especially if TA Blue get their vision game on point.
100%. And we talk about the 2v2 with the junglers and mids, but I'm interested in seeing the bot lane with Bondi moving down into the support role, being primarily an ADC. That's something to keep our eyes on, to see how they play down there. I don't know how long he's been role swapped in the support role. His OPGG saying he's still playing a lot of ADC, but transferring from ADC to support, it's not the hardest thing in the world, because as a support, you know how you want your ADC to play. As an ADC, you know how you want your support to play. So if there's just good communication in that bot lane, they'll have a great time. But that is obviously yet to be seen so far. A couple things of note that we were talking about before the draft obviously started. I think we kind of predicted the Jhin and the Ezreal to
Yeah.
come into play in the bot lane. It was kind of a pick between three: the Jhin, the Ezreal, the Seraphine, and the Seraphine obviously being one of the first three bans out. Not going to get grabbed up by either of these teams, but a couple very solid picks so far.
Yeah, and I think the biggest surprise has been these mid lane selections. I talked a little bit about how Wind Trading really enjoys the melee champions. To see the
Yeah.
Talia picked up, I mean, it is a power pick right now,
Mhm.
and totally understandable. He plays his fair share of this as well. The Azir on the other side, though, for Glue Eaters, prioritized by Zelius, does seem very out of character, especially since not a whole lot of bans have been directed at his champion pool. We know he plays things like the Vex, and now we're playing this very long range style. Granted, you've got a really big front line, but I'm wondering whether to start the season, Glue Eaters are already pushing their limits.
I mean, TA Blue could be doing just a hard flex and
Hmm.
throwing Talia jungle, Trundle top. I don't
Imagine.
think that'll be a thing, but it'd be kind of smart because now they see the Azir. The Azir's not
Hmm.
going anywhere but mid. They've got Jhin Nautilus in the bot lane right now, so already quite a bit of heavy engage. They've got Poppy, they have Azir, Nautilus, a lot of very in-your-face champions when they're going for their full combos. Really just protect the Jhin. All he has to do is sit behind, throw out W, throw out ultimate, and not worry too much. TA Blue need to worry about getting into that back line, though. Not a whole lot to get back there right now. Talia ultimate, really the big one. Leona can try to get back there with a Zenith Blade if somehow, some way, Jhin is too far up. And Trundle can try to walk through with ultimate, but I don't think it's going to happen. So Glue Eaters, I think right now, have the more well-rounded team comp as far as I can see. However, this Gnar coming in right now is a very good engage.
Yeah, and it's also really good in the side lane. I was thinking Ornn, but now that I see Gnar, and I've seen so much Gnar on the international stage, I
Mhm.
really don't think there's any other option here. You grab yourself something that has this really strong side lane, has the ability to win a lot of lanes, and you force Glue Eaters to decide, do we want to win the 1v1 or do we want to win the 5v5? That is the flexibility that Gnar has that not a whole lot of other champions bring to the table. Really curious what Glue Eaters will prioritize now, as Poppy as a frontline simply isn't going to be enough in that 5v5 situation. It looks like they are
Jax hover.
selecting to win the 1v1. Let's see if this gets locked in. It does. All right.
Okay.
So Glue Eaters, they got a good 4v4. They got to keep it that way, though.
Yeah, that's very solid 4v4. This is what I like. I like seeing in amateur the split push comps get picked up because not a whole lot of people know how to play into it. It's just you get one champion so far ahead, like this Jax is gonna be destroying
Mhm.
towers. Might just go Hullbreaker first if he wants to play it that way. And then you have to send at least two people to go stop him if he's ahead. And then
Mhm.
you've got a 3v4 on the other side of the map, and you just get out macroed naturally because the other team just has the numbers advantage against you.
Mhm.
They got to work on making sure this Jax doesn't just hyperscale and go into this late, early to mid game with an item and a half and already down to tower.
No,
Gnar just needs to play it safe, sit back, use the hop for when Jax is going in for a Q counter strike, and he'll be just fine, honestly.
Speaking of scaling, though, I think it's important to recognize the power curve of both these teams because, well, you've got Azir and Jax that are both going to destroy people in the
Right.
late game. That's where Glue Eaters are happiest. But TA Blue don't have to start at 2 minutes to
Right.
start countering that because they've actually got a really nice one, even two item power spike where things like Ezreal, Gnar, Talia, Trundle should all be honestly very scary to fight up against,
Right.
especially pre second or third item. Poppy
Hmm.
isn't that tanky, and Trundle already decimates tanks. So I could see a world where TA Blue may not have the feistiest early game and are still able to turn this into a win.
100%. My biggest issue, though, Jax is going to counter strike a lot of what TA Blue throw at him.
Mhm.
The best thing for them is Talia hits him with a full combo. Because Talia post 11 with a couple items under her belt should be able to one shot a couple of those carries if she lands that full combo. It's going to be hard to, though, because it's mainly skill shots. There's a couple AoE in there, but Nautilus, Azir, Poppy are going to make it very hard for her to be able to get into that back line and be able to do that damage that she's looking for. And on top of that, Poppy's just gonna be able to stop any hard engage they have. Ezreal has that arcane shift, Gnar has that hop, Poppy pushes steadfast presence, and no one's going anywhere, and that just immediately snuffs out any kind of engage. And then TA Blue don't have a lot of disengage to go after that. Most of their engage is one time only. It's either you're going in with it or you're leaving with it. And if they pull the trigger too early, then Glue Eaters are going to take a massive jump ahead of them.
Now, this is where I think you've actually got a real advantage with a role swap into bot lane, though, because Bondi, as a support on Nautilus, has a lot of peel tools and knows exactly what his backline is capable, or at least he should, right?
Right.
That should be the first thing on your mind is whenever you're playing any support is what on earth can my AD carry do to escape the situation? How can I help them best? And that's something that Nautilus can do really well. Prioritize and eliminate threats from your AD carry, buying them crucial time as this game goes on. That's going to transfer into the mid lane, but it is going to be just as true. And I'm looking at Bondi, especially in this game, not just to see how well he adapts, but how well he can bring Glue Eaters together in a very macro-heavy composition when it comes to the thought of split pushing.
For sure, especially with, as we've been talking about the role swap into the support lane with Vizzy kind of playing safe with his champ pool. Jhin doesn't necessarily want to go all in. I guess against Ezreal, it's not the worst. But it's all going to come down to how Vizzy makes the calls. They have to make sure they're talking before Bondi pulls the trigger to go in with a dredge line. Because if Leona goes on before he can, I guess he can try to, 1v1 the support, and Nautilus and Leona go at each other to try to stop him getting back to Jhin. But then Ezreal has free reign to arcane shift forward, try to go after Jhin if they know where a Poppy is. And then if it's just this 2v2, I think TA Blue have a slight advantage a little bit early on, depending on what abilities land and how the wave state is realistically.
I was actually hearing you talk about this. I mean, we've discussed the sort of larger power curve, and you talked about the interactions that Ezreal, Leona, Jhin, and Nautilus can have in lane. But when we look at the mid lane, I mean, the Azir Poppy matchup, the Azir Poppy, the Azir Talia matchup is one that is defined by really the ability to just push in your opponent. Which of these champions are you expecting to have an easier time of doing that, and at what points in the game?
Earlier on, I think Talia is going to be able to push the wave. I think she's going to have a slight advantage the entire time just because her Q, the cooldown of it, the damage of it earlier on compared to Azir Soldier auto attacks. Once he gets a Nashor's Tooth, it'll probably be about even with Talia depending on how strong she is and what she's sitting at item-wise, gold-wise. If she's a level or two ahead of him, it's just going to be Talia the entire time. If they're about even, I say right around maybe the 15-minute mark, they should be wave clearing about the same. And then it depends on who gets ahead. If Talia gets ahead after that point, she's going to be running over Azir wave clear-wise. But if Azir stays ahead, if Poppy keeps on going mid to constantly stop this Talia, then Azir's just going to have the freest lane of his life.
I could absolutely see a world where this Azir gets to play very comfortably, and it honestly doesn't have to be worried about that much pressure. Trundle doesn't have the biggest gank threat, and you should be able to have a lane where this scales up really comfortably. It actually brings a lot of focus up towards these Rift Heralds as well, and their ability to crack towers early, because that is the one way that you can really neuter Azir in the early game, is making sure that he has absolutely no safety to work with. As we look up towards the top lane as well, we've got to be cognizant of the way that Gnar Jax matchups can play out, and I know that we've all seen them happen in our solo queue games. We know that the Gnar can get slaughtered early on, especially when he's mini, and if you're TA Blue, you're just crossing your fingers and I guess hoping that doesn't happen, hoping that Arthur Dent isn't as comfortable in this Jax as the last pick counter would imply.
Yeah, I mean, if you're last picking Jax for the counter, you better have something up your sleeve to be able to really pop off on it. Gnar can play safe, like we were talking about, we're at diamond level now. These guys, little bit more, I guess, together in the game with how they're playing it. They know their way around the map a little bit better than the lower elos. So a Gnar played in diamond, we should see a very good time for him, as long as he's just playing it smart. That's all. if you're able to make it so that Jax doesn't get ahead and you scale into the late game, you're doing great because Talia's almost always going to have the prio mid. Azir is going to use his shuffle to escape any ganks that Trundle throws his way, but he's going to be sitting back with his soldiers and just trying to constantly poke. So Trundle, Talia should be first to all the objectives, whether it be Rift Herald or Dragon, and then Gnar should be able to keep the wave pretty even, if not maybe push slightly towards him.
It's funny because we were focusing on this jungle matchup before the game and sort of deciding how much they would be able to impact the outcome based on the way that the laners are. And I want to say, especially the playstyle of bot lane that normally draws a lot of attention. These two bot lanes are actually quite self-sufficient, so a lot of focus gets drawn into our junglers and how they want to play. And we see two very different styles here, with Team Ambition Blue being very defined by how well Trundle is going to play the macro game, how I Am Javi is going to be able to, I think, ideally drag glue eaters around the map and deny them resources with the different winning lanes they have. And a lot of Cade to the Fourth's ability to impact this game is going to be relegated into the team fights, is going to be relegated into those micro interactions, the few skirmishes that glue eaters actually choose to take before they become as powerful as Team Ambition Blue. And they're very different decisions, they're very different play styles. I'm hoping that each of them has been able to, I want to say, prepare for both of them. But it is fascinating to me to watch two totally different styles of actually being able to win the game here, go head to head, because Poppy's got to be on point in the team fights, and outside of that, you get denied farm, it doesn't really matter. You're Poppy. Like, it's going to be fine. Trundle, on the other hand, Trundle needs to get ahead, needs to get going, and well, I gotta hope the Team Ambition Blue are ready for that as well.
Exactly, and I'll be honest, every time you say it, it just reminds me of the movie I Am Javi. I Am Javi. I Am Javi. If you've ever watched what is it, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Nicolas Cage? one of Pedro Pascal's lines in it. He plays a guy named Javi, and Nick Cage is going on and on about if Javi wants me to do this, if Javi wants me to do that, and he goes, I am Javi. And it's just like every time I read this name, I think of that line, and I don't know why it's so funny. But we are on the Rift now, Dean. Early skirmish already.
We may have some people exiting the Rift a little bit early, as Israel is unfortunately caught, and the CC chain is pretty unforgiving. Arthur Dent starting with Counter-Strike to really double down on that. Did not treat anyone too favorably. First Blood going over to Glue Eaters. It's good. It might not be game-changing, but it's good. I also don't see that kill on the scoreboard.
Yeah, it's the spectator bug. They gotta drop down.
Hey.
But yeah, TA Blue sent 3 top to get a ward on the red. Nobody was mid to spot out that mid to red invade from Glue Eaters, and that was just very well taken care of by the Glue Eaters there to get themselves first blood. Did go over to the Poppy. You'd probably like to see that go over to one of your laners, but a kill is a kill. Everybody got gold assists on it, and now we're seeing maybe a little bit of a cheese. No, they're not going to be able to get it. Try to see if maybe they would come through the tri-brush. They don't quite catch him out there, and all is normal back on the Rift here.
I will say that the one nice thing about the gold landing on the Poppy is that as much as it doesn't matter, as much as you can function on Econ, tankier is always better, especially when it comes to Glue Eater's composition for this limited front line. If you're opting into these 4v4s more often than not, the more time that Poppy can survive, the more likely it is that you're going to be able to come out on top, especially as people like Jhin and Azir need a little bit of time to get going. As we are making sure that everybody is having relatively stable lanes, it seems to be true with, I will say, Dubs and Israel getting the push in the bot side. The big focus here has to be the junglers, though. There's actually a ping from I Am Javi on the blue buff of Cade to the 4th. See if they can get a little bit of vision there.
He's spot him out instantly there as well.
I think he's okay. Still got flash. Does get ignite and actually
too late.
Oh god! Oh no! Like you know that it's risky holding the flash like that. Cade, unfortunately, didn't come out on top of it, and actually having given it over a kill to Dubs as well. The first blood is almost instantly negated by the fact that now you have a laner who was already getting a nice push, who now has a red buff, who already has a tier, and who is even closer to their first, I want to say item spike, half item spike for Ezreal, because Sheen really slaps.
Yeah, I mean, 700 gold, he's probably at least halfway to that, if not three-quarters of the way to it already. I've liked Israel's kind of holding on to that stun auto until the flash came through. I don't think it was on purpose for the timing of it, but held it for a very long time. Did very well with it. Now another engagement.
Oh, Disney already having burned the cleanse, now getting exhausted and slowed up. The stun comes through, and this is a dead Jhin. Flashes away, but Hobby takes that last auto underneath the tower to find the kill, and now Bondi's in trouble as well, flashing himself to put his body underneath the tower. Dubs isn't able to connect with that final auto, but will be able to shove in the wave and get a nice back. It's just the same way that Zelius was in the mid lane, the one lane that seems to be going unquestionably well for the Glue Eaters.
And this is kind of what I was talking about as well with Vizzy and Bondi, and Vizzy kind of playing these safe champions. Bondi landing that nice dredge line, but they did just see Javi bot lane, so Javi couldn't have gotten too far too fast. Scuttle was obviously still being contested, so he was still on the bot side, went in a little bit too early without letting him head out of there and head back to his top side. And then we see a nice EA Blue taking advantage of that over the Glue Eaters. Head back in the mid lane here, win trading, actually taking a lot of damage from Zelius here, who's very healthy, does decent wave stacking up against him.
Zelius has been playing this year really well. Win trading has already taken a reset and come back to lane, only to end up at this amount of health. And Israel having to roam up like this isn't the worst thing in the world, because I will say Dubs did find that back, did grab the Sheen, but it is worrying that even that roam from your Leona didn't find you a wave crash, and now there's actually an engage that could go off here. Bondi flashless still is going to try and connect with the hook, and it's off by a pixel, Fury. A pixel.
Just slightly wide to the right. He didn't want to throw it too far to the left so it wouldn't just grab onto the wall, but ends up overshooting it by just a bit. Everybody kind of gets out of sync there now from the lanes. Now another initiation by Israel.
Exactly what's going to happen there, and honestly, really nice tanking from Bondi so far. The Leona not nearly so tanky anymore after the clip goes down, and will be underneath the tower with just under 100 HP left. But with Javi roaming down as well, there isn't any vision control for Glue Eaters, and we're likely going to see an engage sooner rather than later. Dubs getting ready. Javi's wrapping around the side. Vizzy and Bondi still flashless, and there's nothing that you can do as Israel finds that stun, does go down. Well, Vizzy, no, never mind, not get away. Javi flashes on top of him, grabs that chomp. Bondi's low as well, but seems like he'll survive as Cade the fourth ends up coming in for the counter gank. A little late, but late is better than never, especially when it saves your support.
Yeah, and unfortunately there, the one kill they traded back, Bondi did end up taking onto Israel there. So no gold over to the carries of the Glue Eaters there. And we did just see Zelius hovering around that Tribrush there. Does have 6. They're going to move their way onto this Drake here, win trading, hovering around, potentially going for a steal here. I think they have the numbers, but Jhin has just come back a little bit healthier off that trade.
That's a really nice wall, such a good wall. The Hex Splash to get Cade to the fourth out is just enough to disengage, and with Trundle coming around the corner, it's going to be smite fight between Cade to the fourth and Kabi. If Cade to the fourth even gets into the pit, the pillar actually puts out so much slowing, so much stopping power that it just cuts down the smite fight. Eventually, that does get taken by Kabi, and they trade Israel's life for it. I honestly think that's pretty darn good for TA Blue.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Talia Wall was perfect to start that off, and then he had the Trundle Pillar right in the choke, so no one could get through it without just losing all of their movement speed. Was almost unable to get into there. It just came down to the smite fight, but I am Javi just a little bit quicker on it, a little bit better on that timing. Now as we finally go up topside here, haven't been up here in a while, we're seeing Severe a level ahead of Arthur Dent right now, which is not great for Arthur Dent. Being Jax, you want to be able to continually bully your lane, And if Severe's just chilling with the freeze under his wave, he's not in any danger at all.
Yeah, I mean, with the farm dead even, and a really nice wave management system by Severe, there's no worries for him, and Arthur Dent, unable to push in the wave, actually gets chunked out for even trying it. He's putting himself at greater risk of ganks from I Am Javi. The interesting thing here is that TA Blue, who we expected to have control over the Rift Herald, seemed to have temporarily lost it, with Severe freezing the wave by his tower and wind trading occupied elsewhere.
Yeah, this is going to be a nice trade for that dragon earlier. Obviously, I think, like, if it was a Cloud Drake or maybe even a Mountain Drake early on, I think it's fine to give that up. Hextech Drake early on, very good for the side of TA Blue. Just look at their team, whole lot of damage in there. Only thing better for them would have been Infernal. But a potential gank up top side here with this Rift Herald. There's no wave yet, though. They're spending a lot of time up here.
Oh, who expects that, though? The 3-man over the wall. There's nothing Severe can do as double Hex Slash into, I will say, a nice mid-air hook from Bondi ends up putting a quick end to this Gnar's life, and it opens you up, right? You've seen the rest of the map kind of go, I want to say poorly. Glue Eaters have not really had the best time, especially in the bot side. But you bring 3 people up the top side, you say, let's make sure that tower ends up going down, and you'll be just happy enough. Busy may suffer for it, though, is right now flashing, I will say again, a little bit late. He's going to get chopped one more time. No,
quite.
It doesn't connect.
Still, though, that only happened because they sent 4 people top. Look at mid right now. He's getting free plates. They're dropping free plates in the bot lane. They're going to get the first tower up top, but the plates you just traded around the map and the skirmishing, I don't know is 100% worth it unless they turn this fight around. Doesn't look like they will. Almost another kill onto Israel there, but Jax is going to get the tower up top, and I don't know that that's really what you want to do. Jax wants to be able to get kills, right? So now Gnar is even safer under his second tower without having to worry about getting ganked at all. Gnar's just going to get fed free waves. So I think taking that first tower topside may have been a little bit overstepping.
You also, like, it's tough because you also want to lane swap in situations like that, so the Gnar is forced into the shorter lane, but you can't really do that now with the dragon coming up soon, so you've just sort of got to hope that the vision game is enough. I will say that the moment of hope here is that Arthur Dent got a lot of gold, and by a lot, I mean enough to purchase a Divine Sunderer instantly. So, if anything can turn into, say, a second kill for this Jax, it's got to be that, but it's gonna have to be a patience game, and I want to check in with Severe to see how that wave's being managed, because if he's freezing right now, Dent is screwed.
Yeah, just a little bit. He looks to be freezing it pretty well, juggling into the bush there. The one thing I don't like the Sunderer buy. If he's not constantly fighting up top because he hasn't been able to, why are you buying Sunderer if you're not constantly trading? Hullbreaker, if you're wanting to continue pushing, is the better first buy. You could even go Triforce if you want, but unless you're constantly skirmishing, I don't think Sunderer is the way to go right now on your first back.
They get a chance to fight right now. Gnar into the wall, and Arthur Dent's actually gone really low. Does end up popping the counter-strike, but as soon as he gets the stun, wind trading shows up as well. There's no way out, and this is exactly what we're talking about. Exactly why freezing is so deadly for Glue Eaters.
He just got a bit greedy there. He realized he can't really step up now to farm the wave because he's so vulnerable behind him, even though he does have quite a bit of vision here on that blue side. It's just so far of a step up for Jax because Talia can move so quickly around the map, gets caught out on that Gromp, a nice engage by Severe, and now potential fight down in the bot side. They are prepping for this Drake Infernal second. They have 4 on it already, with Severe moving his way down, but as you see, Elliot forced to take it back with no TP because he got chunked out pretty hard there, and now potential steal.
Control worked all they had, and as much as Cade's initial ejection of Israel looked good, it's not nearly enough. Bondi goes down. Poppy is lucky to escape with their life, and with the second dragon going over to TA Blue, there's really no worries here. It is an Akuna Matata world for them, and picking up another kill onto Cade to the 4th. We've now got a 4-0 Trundle. I Am Hobby terrifying on the map, already equal with Arthur Dent in terms of the itemization, and so much further ahead in terms of the impact that he's been able to have on the map.
And unfortunately, there's Zelly is forced to come to the bot lane. However, he might be able to get a kill off of it. Wind Train gonna miss that seismic shove. Flash is forward. He's gonna burn. There it is. I was gonna say he wasn't able to pick up any plates off that mid lane with the wave that was shoving there with nobody contesting, but makes up for it with a nice solo kill in the bot lane, picking up Wind Train, who had a little bit of a greedy back. I can never agree with the backing in the middle of the lane. I think it takes 10 seconds to walk back to your tower to safely back, and Zelius takes full advantage of that. Nice pickup in the bot lane there, and now they are moving everyone around the map. Sans the top laners, they're staying in their lane.
I will say that as we're looking towards Zelius in that nice play, he has just hit his first item, but the first item spikes weren't something that we had attributed to a really good thing for Glue Eaters. It was actually TA Blue that we were looking at, and as we saw the Divine Sunder come in, now we've got even more with the Everfrost and Trinity Force picked up by Dubs and I Am Javi respectively. This is going to become mid-game that is nearly impossible to navigate for Glue Eaters. The play from Zelius looked really nice, and it's accelerated Eurazir, but that acceleration is only going to kick in the next maybe 10-15 minutes. Right now, it's a TA Blue world, and we're all living in it. That includes Glue Eaters.
100%. The only thing I'm questioning, I mean, I guess it's not that bad of a pick because of the changes to Leandre's, but is that still the pick? I thought you just go Ludens on Azir first. I thought that was the better play. Maybe it's just better into the Trundle, Gnar, and the Leona, just for the burn damage.
Honestly, Azir's got a lot of flexibility. Flexibility that in the itemization ends up turning into a lot of builds. I've seen people go both, and I honestly can't blame him for going Leandre's here, since you are going to have to chew through Trundle. It's just personal taste.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can get behind it. Like, I still understand it. Like, Gnar, Trundle, Leo, very tanky. So it makes sense to definitely go in here. Now, the fight opening up around the Rift Zone. You pop that curtain call, a couple TPs coming through as well. Nice TP behind.
Alright, Cape the Fourth is on a flank, but so is Severe. Unfortunately, he's got no Mega Gnar, so this Gnar is isolated and destroyed. Arthur Dent and Cape the Fourth, they are solo engaging. You talked about the value of the Counter-Strike. Arthur Dent bought a lot of time, but his team wasn't there, and now it's a 4v4. Make it a 3v4 in the favor of TA Blue as they turn things around. Javi in the front line, taking down Cage to the fourth. Turns around to Zelius, says, hey, Azir, I know you've been having a fun game. You're now the only one left alive. Wind Trading goes a little too far forward, but a flash forward, maybe exactly what they need. Javi with the last auto picks up the ace. And it's going to be in the favor of TA Blue with a Rift Herald to boot.
So there was a very rocky start for TA Blue there. Severe TP behind. Instantly gets ulted by Zelius over the wall and chunked out. The only issue for Glue Eaters there is that they no longer had that Azir ult for the ensuing team fight. So Severe inted, quote unquote, but it was a tactical int there, I guess, for burning a couple of very, very potent ultimates. And then Javi, now 7-0-1, able to just run people down while Dubs throws Qs out from behind. Doesn't even have the upgraded boost yet. Has the Triforce with almost fully stacked here. 2-0-5 is looking very strong this game.
Ridiculously so. I am terrified of what TA Blue are going to continue doing. I wanted to say start doing, but we just saw it happen up in the top lane, so it didn't really feel as fair. Since we do have that next dragon, the Mountain Dragon, coming up in the next minute, we've also got to start getting even more worried about your ability to chew through TA Blue. They're already spiking really hard. They've already got a bunch more effective HP to work with, and they might have access to that Mountain Soul if they can play these next 30 seconds correctly. They don't have the vision. Glue Eaters have set up their play. Will they be able to find a pick?
Gold is dead even at this point here too. Really no differences across the board except for, as we're seeing in that jungle. Mid just about the same, and bot lane just about the same. You drop that Rift Herald mid, get some pressure, and then move down towards this Drake. And now we're seeing Glue Eaters. They had massive priority over this Drake. They're just giving it up because of the Rift Herald.
They can't do anything. It's like free pressure that gets given over to TA Blue, and now we walk into the river, and hey, that's also Blue. An excellent Weaver's Wall. Cuts off 4 of the 5 members, and now we've got to engage onto Arthur Dent. Nice flash away. It's bought time for the team as Cage the Fourth tries to engage. We've got to teleport into the bait. Huge knockup from Cage the Fourth, and flash in from Arthur Dent for the quadruple stun. Maybe exactly exactly what Glue Eaters needed. Hobby has chewed through one. He's taken down. Busy takes down a second. But is this 4-0 Trundle enough? He's finally slain, and it's enough, it seems. Zelius wind training up against Severe. A nice hook. Wind training almost goes down. Zelius shortly has this kill. It's going to be Severe that finishes off the ultimate members of Glue Eaters, and GA Blue, they just barely win a fight.
That is the definition of a Pyrrhic victory right there. 9 dead with Severe, having to live with survivor's guilt, now trying to take this dragon down to about half health. Everybody's respawning, everybody's making a beeline for this dragon here. Leona and Ezreal should be there first, with Jhin and Poppy right behind. Poppy's gonna have that smite though. Will they be able to take it in time? They should be able to. Curtain Call is gonna open up, misses the first, misses the second, hits the third on Israel, who's just gonna stand still and wait for him. And that's gonna be the Drake finally after a couple minutes.
That was the definition of a jungle difference. And I say that with no hate to Cade to the fourth, but the I think it was 8-0 Trundle at that time really put GA Blue on their back for a second and said, hold on guys, I know this looks terrible, we're gonna win the fight. We've decided on another one that we're going to win as well. Arthur Dent should be unable to escape this, especially as the killer comes in. A nice counter strike buys time, but time's all that's going to get you. Hobby picks up another kill, sending us up to 11-1. More than double the kills of anyone else on the map. Where this Trundle is, GA Blue are winning.
Trundle has more KP on his team than the entirety of the kills on Blue Eaters combined here. 13 to the 12 altogether. This Trundle is just all over the map, an absolute menace. Has DME finished, now moving on to Cade to the fourth. He's just gonna have to back off there. Can't get too risky there. 14 seconds on the Baron. They could take it right off spawn. I don't know if you want to, though. As much as they are ahead, Blue Eaters are by no means out of this game. Still very strong. We saw Zelius in that last fight. While he did go down, it was not without that triple kill first, taking 3 of the 5 members of TA Blue out. And now it just all comes down to the positioning here. You see a majority of Blue Eaters sitting down on the bot side of this mid lane here. We are down bot with the Jax. He has the TP available, as does Arthur Dent. And now we may see a fight here. Zelius maybe doing a little bit of baiting, but Bondi and Busy spending a lot of time mid, soaking up a lot of XP from Velius here and not getting any gold around the map.
A little worried about how that's going to turn out as well, because despite the fact that the wave gets pushed in, Zelius has gone low and Hobby walks up to him and just bops him in the face to pick up that kill. Win trading with another amazing wall. Cuts off the defense of, or rather the retreat of Glue Eaters. And we've got 2 kills going over, 2 of the most important ones.
Yeah, that was not the greatest play by Blue Eaters there. They sat there for about a minute and a half, didn't really get much out of it, and then end up dying for it. And now, they're going to be dying for the map here. The title.
Cade the fourth is able to do this. Unfortunately, having to flash away, he's now got no way over the wall without that blast cone. The nice thing is, it seems to have been enough of a distraction that everybody from TA Blue commits to the jungler, picked him off, and now we're focusing on Arthur Dent with Zelius teleporting in, can turn the tides of battle. A double kill has already gone over to Hobby, and it does not appear the Glue Eaters are going to get the chance to contest this again. Surely they don't walk into this, I want to say, fog of war, where really I don't see you coming out alive from.
Surely they don't do it again.
Yeah, right?
That mid lane tower on 1 health. Moving on to this Baron, though, they are actually posturing around and potentially see a first ball come through. Bondi very low on the other side of that red up there. Using to start his back. Zelius behind the wall. Just trying to get some poke out. 1k health when they feel it. No. Jumps over the wall with a nice ultimate, and that is going to be Talia picking up that kill off Gnar. Right over the wall. Very nice timing by Talia.
I gotta respect Zelius for going for it as well, because he knew as well as we did that a Mega Gnar on the other side of the wall means that you are a second away from death. But he still walked up, went for the auto on the Baron, and if he had gotten it, what a legendary play. Now, however, the game's really gotten so much further out of hand. The gold that was even 10 minutes ago has now expanded to the tune of around a 6,000 gold lead in the favor of TA Blue, and well, it isn't something that will end the game immediately. The fact that they can walk in your face Trundle probably will.
I'm currently
Yeah, Trundle
training,
is really
so let
walking
me
away
know
from this
if it's
game
anything
here.
I need to capture.
It's nearly unkillable. 3 items. Just look at his itemization over everyone else, not even on the other team, but in the game. Win trading picks up yet another kill there. Nautilus
All
just
right.
caught way out of place there. Should not be there. But Trundle, 3 items. Talia now 3 items as well. Ezreal has that fully stacked. The Trinity Force moving on to the next item here. Everyone else sitting on just 2 items, 1.5 if you're looking at Poppy.
Oh no. Oh my
What a
god.
seismic shove.
What a solar flare to start it off. I
man.
mean, there was just everything going right there. TA Blue, they have really found their stride, really found their confidence, and now probably have found themselves, if not the inhibitor, the game. We've got another wave incoming. One nice thing, one thing that might let them play it safer is they do have that Mountain Dragon coming up if they want to go for the, I want to say, textbook victory. That doesn't seem like what they're focused on, however, as this tower certainly finds out the difficult way. Going down, the first Nexus tower is eliminated, and we've just got one more between TA Blue at the end of the game. Win trading throws out that wall, stops everyone from being able to access the fight, and even as Kate the Fourth jumps over and finds the stun, there is nothing that you can do, and TA Blue end up finding the first victory, the best of 3.
Yeah, you're telling me these guys didn't just leave the wave to go back to Dragon and then fountain dive for kills instead of just ending the game? Diamond truly is a different beast, and I love it. Able to actually concisely end the game there, 24 minutes and 1 second, not making it perfect for them, but very well fought by both teams. I just think when it comes down to the next draft, Glue Eaters need to work on what they're going for here. I think the mid to bot was fine. I just think the communication in their bot lane needs a little bit of work there. But man, TA Blue really, really ran away with it in all of the lanes, honestly.
And that was despite getting first blooded as well.
Yep.
Remember that they were the ones that ended up giving over the kill to Cade to start things off. And some really nice play from Javi and from the bot lane of TA Blue made it a nightmare for Glue Eaters to play against.
Yeah, 100%. It was just, I mean, Poppy start getting that kill, that was fine. She did go boots first. I'm used to junglers taking the boots rune instead of actually buying boots, but I guess it worked out a little bit. Didn't really use it too much to her advantage. I guess she got to lanes quicker or her camps quicker, but didn't really see her in lanes a whole lot. That top lane gank was very nice with the Nautilus flash over. The only problem is they got those nice plays, but they end up sending 4 people top. They lose so much mid, they lose so much bot for it. That the one nice play is counteracted by the macro from TA Blue around the other sides of the map. So they lose a tower, they take some plates mid and bot that are about equal to a tower. They get a kill mid, they get 2 kills top. They're just taking something else on the map that is more important than what they just lost.
Certainly so. I am curious how Glue Eaters will recover from this, if they can, going into the next game. But they will be starting from scratch. We'll get the chance to break down a little bit more of Game 1 and set up for Game 2 once we come back from a very short break. Did we do this to me again? We're live. All right, we're live.
Oh,
Well,
welcome.
Fury, we're live.
Oh, wow.
Um, game two, and all that. TA Blue versus Blue Eaters. Folks, these teams are going to be swapping sides. Um, we should all know that. And well, deep breath. Okay. We're going to be popping into draft shortly. We've got time before that, so let's talk a little bit about the way that TA Blue and Glue Eaters sort of dialed out that game and what we can expect from going into the next one, because there were a few points that I wanted to hit. I think Glue Eaters actually had a really solid shot around specifically a dragon fight. No, it was a Rift Herald fight that happened. I think it was the second Rift Herald Fury, and their team fight almost looked cohesive. We saw it twice, once over at the Rift Herald, once over at the Dragon. It couldn't quite come together. TA Blue, just the power spikes and honestly the coordination were a little too much there.
Yeah, I think Glue Eaters had decent coordination to start it off. The problem is they were half an item to an item behind, almost on all fronts other than mid. Like Ezreal was just so ahead. Gnar was obviously extraordinarily ahead, which is really the main reason why they ended up winning that fight. Is Gnar just able to finish off Azir with so much damage. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the big thing that needed to come out of Glue Eaters was just prioritizing the ultimates and the real targets. I think there were too many times that someone who needed to die early was just left alive until the end of the fight, and that's what helped them lose the fight. Or that one fight around the I think it was Baron with Gnar TPing behind, and then the Azir ultimate we talked about earlier. I think you don't need to use that ultimate right away. I don't even think Gnar had his full Gnar bar up yet, so he wasn't that big of an issue. Uh, Azir probably should have moved in a little bit more, maybe ulted the remainder of TA Blue away, then turn their attention on Gnar, finish him off, and then move back onto the remaining team of TA Blue. That just didn't happen, and I would just like to see more of just cohesiveness going into this next game for them. That'll help them a lot with these team fights that the TA Blue just end up not even like barely winning, but they're fights that they should be winning and do win.
I'm hoping that they're able to take that like should be and turn it into a yes when we pop into this second series. I am wondering if you're expecting them to shift up their composition in order to do that, or whether this is I mean, it wasn't really broke, so let's just try exactly the same thing again and see if we can make this a little bit smoother from our end, because
Mhm.
a lot of these things were gameplay mistakes. Would you rather that be well, we want to find a compositional style that suits us better, or it was really close, let's just do that once more?
I think TA Blue can stick with what they had. I think Glue Eaters need to change it up towards the top side of the map. I think their bot lane was all right. Like I said, I think Bondi just kind of needs to get on the same wavelength as Vizzy, so that they don't run into those issues of overextending too quickly, taking trades they're not ready for. And then the top lane jungle probably needs to change. Poppy didn't look terrible, but into the team of TA Blue, it just wasn't able to do much. And then Jax for sure needs to change. If you're prioritizing a counter in the top lane, you got to make sure that that pick is going to be what is snowballing you into the mid to late game. That's just not
Hmm.
what happened at all. Gnar was able to just sit back, hold the wave, and farm indefinitely, and then come back with items and just start winning trades.
Shout out to Severe, by the way, because of that. The holding the wave that you mentioned, he had such good wave management, not just in the lane, but post that. We saw it literally kill Jax because he was able to freeze the wave, and that's not something that I'm used to seeing a whole lot of, but that I'm very happy to be getting the chance to watch, because seeing wave state turn into game state is
Mhm.
pretty darn cool.
It's fun to see things that should be getting you leads actually getting you leads, rather than oh wow, this guy's got a 2K gold lead. Let's watch him squander it in one fight because he wants to fight on cooldown. It's just better League of Legends, honestly. Being able to watch these guys say, "Hey, this is probably what's going to happen next." And help the, not just obviously for us, but for everyone watching understand what's happening, why it's happening, and then how it happened. Instead of just being an absolute fiesta of constantly fighting and throwing massive leads.
Now we should be getting into the draft rather soon. So while we wait up for that, I wanted to take a second and talk a little bit more about the other picks that we could be expecting from these teams, especially ones that we didn't get the chance to see. I mean, we spoke a little bit about the Vex, the Tristana, and contextualize some of the things that we're seeing in the bands for the first time.
Yeah, so there's a lot. Oh, now we're getting to the bands here. Orn band right off the bat, but the Tristana is actually a big mid play for, I believe it's Zelius, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Zelius playing Vex and Tristana. So if he pulls that out, Tristana is one of those, I don't want to say cheese pick, but kind of a cheese pick that's just
Mm-hmm.
really good at hard shoving waves, kind of what you're looking to do with Azir or with Talia. Not necessarily as great on the team fighting front of it, but really good at just getting you ahead naturally. Vex a little bit better on the actual team fight side of it because she has that inbuilt fear to be able to use that as a very nice ultimate with the reset if she gets a kill on that. But a big thing is Seraphine is kind of played between both ADCs and the mid lane, and that
Mm-hmm.
Seraphine has been deleted twice now by TA.
Unfortunate. You know how I feel about Seraphine.
You
Seraphine
love
good.
Seraphine.
Everybody is figuring out now that Seraphine is good, and it's really hurting me and my solo queue games. People are understanding how to play against it. But that's a first pick that honestly is also a power pick that I haven't gotten a chance to see in a while. Wukong prioritized on B1 does throw a wrench into the plans likely for the for TA Blue as oh my lord,
Wow.
because they're gonna have to deal with a team fighting now jungler that's also got pretty nice ganks. Diana Yasuo on the other side though, that's what I'm hoping for. That's what's up, TA Blue.
The instant Diana Yasuo, there was
Uh
no
huh.
thinking on that. One brain cell between the two of them said, "Let's pick Diana and Yasuo at the same time. Just go for comps for Yas here." Wukong, I like the pick. I don't think it should be first pick anymore with the changes
Okay.
that he's gotten so far. I think you should maybe see the jungler pick unless you're flexing at top, but I think it's still a solid pick overall. I like the Vex pickup. We were just talking about that. Good pick, and then a Gwen now. So three really in your face champions, which is not good for glue eaters because Diana and Yasuo want that all day.
Yeah, this is like they're ready to throw you into the meat grinder is the vibe that I'm getting, and not glue excuse me, not glue, TA Blue have the chance to double down on that now that we're into this next phase. Nar is actually I would say a
Nar's,
fair pickup into Gwen.
yeah, Nar's decent into Gwen. I was about to say
Yeah.
I like the Nar pickup into Gwen. Pick Timo into Gwen too, and it actually won't be troll. But
Stop.
I'm telling you, Timo is actually a decent counter into Gwen.
Uh-huh.
You'll never see it, but he is. Nara getting picked up though, obviously was amazing last game, and Gwen is gonna probably play in the same style as a Jax would, just a little bit
Hmm.
more range, a little bit more safety.
A little
So
better team
Nar should
fighting.
have a decent time coming into this. The Yumi ban, so I guess they don't want Ezreal Yumi because I just realized we don't see a bot lane yet from either
Yeah,
side.
I also wouldn't want Yumi Gwen or Yumi Vex or Yumi
No,
Wukong or so, like I get it. I get I
one
get
hundred
what they're
percent.
counteracting here. I will say that the supports are one of the bigger things that we need to look out for because, like you said, we don't have those AD carries and hyperscalers are still going to be a possibility. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Fury, can you play Nyla according to the rules? Because Nyla would be pretty good
We
for
can play
TA Blue.
Nyla. Nyla's allowed in draft. Any champions allowed right now. We don't have anybody banned on the list as of yet until some game breaking bug comes out next week, and then
Yeah.
someone will probably get banned. But as we're going through here, we see the Renata ban as well. They're just hard ban the support here for the side of blue, getting rid of a lot of Bondi's champ pool here, forcing him onto these hard engages. However, he did get rid of the Leona and Nautilus himself,
Oh my
and
god.
wow, TA
Do
Blue
you
just able to get the Tarek.
you have to that Nyla is literally so perfect for TA Blue right now. It's so perfect.
I
I
don't know if
can't.
Blue plays it though.
He's got to play. There's no way you lock in Tarek.
Does
What else are
Israel
you playing
play
with
it?
Tarek? What else are you playing with Tarek?
I don't. I mean, you could do Ezreal. To be fair, you could do Ezreal Tarek. It's
I
not
guess so.
terrible. You could do Senna Tarek. Um, I mean, Nyla Tarek is just the go-to.
It's just disgusting.
Actually,
Twitch
give me 1
Bard on the
second.
other side of that would make the matchup actually pretty difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Nyla Tarek would have an irritating time into that, especially because we know that Vizzy does play his fair amount of the Twitch. Oh god, what are we doing?
Ezreal, hover, back and
Honestly,
forth.
I'd rather go with the Twitch just to prevent the Nyla, but oh, it's
There it
so
is.
freaking easy. I'm walking away. I
Love to
can't.
see it. You love
It,
to see it. That's it. That's the Dia call, baby.
we knew.
That's it. This is TA Blue has just such a great comp. Glue Eaters by no means don't have a bad one
Yeah,
at
yeah, yeah.
all. But I think there are better champions you can play in certain situations here.
Sure.
But just right off the bat, getting Diana Yasuo through, now you've got Gnar. Then you have Tarek and Nyla. So it's just realistically they should be unkillable.
Yeah, right. Like, what are you doing in this,
Yeah.
Diana Yasuo? Like, the only way that I see Glue Eaters winning fights. Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna have to reevaluate all of this once we talk about
Well,
points in the
TA
game.
Blue
But
has to miss everything in order for Glue to really get ahead in the fight. Gnar has to just miss ult. Diana has to miss ult. Tarek has to have the worst timed ult you've ever seen in your life to where it doesn't hit anyone and it's just too late. And then Nyla has to be down 3 kills in an item. Really for Glue Eaters to just be stepping on them in fights. But if everything just goes their way, this is the comp where in lower elos you would be like, oh wow, this is going to be great, and then ends up being bad. But after what we just saw last game, this should be something that they are used to, that they have good communication over, and that they can easily execute.
yeah, and that's what I'm really looking forward to, is the way that TA Blue after last game coordinated now should be taking a step up. I will say, outside of just missing everything, that a lot of this game is also going to come down to the interrupts that Zelius has on the Vex and that Bondi has on the Bard.
Yep.
Because as much as this is a very scary comp from TA Blue, they've also got a lot of mobility. Vex is
Mm-hmm.
meant to be anti-mobility, and
Yep.
Bard, well, we've all seen how his ult can change fights, so, for
That's just
better or
it.
worse, right?
Yeah, and then you have Wukong too, with his ultimate in the middle, he can disrupt quite a bit. It's all gonna be about timing on that Bard ult, right? If you've got a good engage, if Vex is getting ready to go in, pop her ultimate and Bard ults him before she can even get there, then she just gets her ult canceled. She can't do anything. You gotta be careful with it. Make sure he's talking with his team on when to use it, that he gives the go ahead, and that he doesn't interrupt his own team and let TA Blue just come out of it just of their own free will and end up walking away on that fight.
Let's talk a little bit about power spikes again, and I will say as a big disclaimer here, I am not as comfortable with Nyla. Haven't seen her played a whole lot. I've
Love
seen her
Nyla.
played a decent amount. So let's talk a little bit about power spikes, about lane states as well, because I'm expecting Gwen Nar to go relatively even, especially with the way that Sevier played. Cade to the fourth and I am Javi should have, I would say, a relatively similar interaction to the way that things went last time, where they'll largely avoid each other and try and counter jungle. But let's talk a little bit about Vex Yasuo.
So Vex should have a better time. Yasuo's gonna have that wind wall, obviously, but what is it, 15 seconds, level 1? Vex should have a little bit more poke. Gonna be able to get those fears off if timed correctly when Yasuo goes in for an EQ with the tornado knockup. We should just expect to see Yasuo poking a lot with the Q rather than going in with the E a whole lot, though, just so he doesn't proc that Vex fear, especially if Wukong's around.
Hmm.
The big thing for me, I love Nyla. I prefer Nyla with Zillion though, just because their passives
Okay.
work so beautifully. With
Oh.
time in a bottle, you're just constantly a level and a half to 2 levels above your other lane opponents. It
Hmm.
works very well. But Nyla Taric could be just as good. So I think the mid to bot is gonna be dicey. Like Glue Eaters can definitely win the bot lane. If Nyla Taric, I guess, overstep and just make a bad play, or if we see Wukong head down bot early. But realistically, the game should be pretty even across the board, with slight advantages in the jungle and in the
Hmm.
bot lane
I'm definitely
for
seeing this.
TA Blue, I should say.
I see that. I see. Yeah. So sorry, I inferred. I'm definitely seeing this as a game where I think that power spikes are also pretty even, especially the first item power spike.
Yep.
Second item is where TA Blue really take off, and before that, they shouldn't be significantly weaker than Glue Eaters, but
Mhm.
they definitely will have a slightly harder time approaching fights because they're all melee.
Right. Yeah, the scariest thing for me, speaking of melee, is the Gwen's power spike. Gwen has a very hard power spike, like just instantly one item, and she can live for a very long time as long as she's landing her combos and just positioning herself correctly. Gets a lot of damage out with that Q. The
Hmm.
snip snip just does so much damage for free if you're standing in the middle of it. Gnar obviously only has the one hop, so if hop's already used and Gwen gets on top of him with the ultimate, with the snip snip, it's gonna be really hard for him to do anything on the engage because Gwen is immune. Uh, and then if Wukong's up top as well. So it's really all gonna come down to where the jungler is, where Cade is around the map, and how Glue Eaters do in this game. Because if TA Blue are allowed to just sit back and farm and get a couple picks here and there like they did in the last game, Glue Eaters could have such a hard time this game.
Like so many games, it's all going to come down to your jungler. So
Yeah,
let's go
jungler.
ahead and take a short break before we pop into this game where TA Blue are on the verge of taking the best of three, and Glue Eaters have to find a way to fight back. We'll find out what happens right after this.
seconds until minions spawn.
Welcome back, folks, to Blue Otter League. We are about to pop into Game 2 of Team Ambition Blue versus Glue Eaters here in Diamond. Now, with Team Ambition Blue up a game, let's see if the Glue Eaters can claw their way back in, because they've got Gwen, they've got Wukong, they've got Vex, and hopefully they've got a game plan to make the best use of them, because that is a very, very strong top side.
Yeah, TA Blue definitely not going to make it easy on them this game. Like we talked about, they got that Diana Yasuo, which have been a couple of I'm Javi and Win Trading's key champions. If you just take a look at their OPGG for 2 seconds, you'll see that both of those champions played quite a bit. So very comfortable on these. We just saw Severe on the Nart, very comfortable on that as well. But Zelius being put on this Vex, that could be a game changer for the Glue Eaters, as Vex is a very big comfort pick for him.
Yeah, I was expecting actually this Vex to be a little bit more of a focus for them in draft in game 1, just given the relative power level of this champ, but especially into the mobile comp of TA Blue, you can get a lot of bang for your buck with the individual abilities, especially Looming Darkness and Personal Space, these AoE fears that you can lay down in the middle of team fights can totally change things for TA Blue. Even in lane, Vex should have a pretty nice time against the Yasuo, where, yes, maybe you aren't taking trades all the time, but you can push lane like nobody's business.
Yeah, he can continually push, he can continually poke, especially with the Yasuo wind wall down. That's really all that matters. If that wind wall's down, then Zelius is going to have a pretty easy time as far as it comes to being able to farm and being able to poke like he is now. And then Bondi, landing the stuns, landing the ultimate, that's going to be a big thing for their team as well when it comes to the actual team fights. But I am interested in seeing how the lanes go. Because Vizzy and Bondi didn't have the easiest time last time, maybe just a little bit of miscommunication, but they have a little bit of a safer lane this time around. Don't really need to hard engage like they were on the Nautilus. Bondi can sit back, he can poke like he just did to Israel, down to, 2/3 of his health already off of just an auto attack and a Q.
Yeah, I think the really nice thing about the Bard Ezreal lane is that, especially into Taric Nyla, as long as you're not in melee range, you're fine. You're winning. And there's not a whole lot of gap close outside of the slipstream for Nyla. So you should be, fingers crossed, all right, I don't want to cast or curse this, but while we're making our way over there and while the wave is being shoved in, one of the things that we've got to notice is, as we illustrated, the junglers earlier, who will be the determiners of the way that this game goes. Javi just now making their way down to bot side after receiving a leash from Severe up top. And Cade actually also starting bot has gone for a very interesting clear of their own.
Yeah, and now we're seeing a response from the last game. It's kind of flipped when Cade was invaded by Dubs in Israel. Now we're seeing it the opposite side. I'm Javi getting invaded on by 4 members of Glue Eaters here. They're sending a lot around this bot side here just to contest this scuttle. First scuttle, I don't think is that important. I think a lot of people prioritize it just way too much, especially after its nerfs. Second scuttle and on, sure. But I don't think you need to send that many people to contest just one scuttle.
I don't think that Bondi ended up seeing I Am Javi on the Gromp either. I believe that they saw that as being pulled away, so there actually is a good chance that on top of getting a scuttle for the play that wasn't that impactful, they've actually received a little bit of negative impact here with possible erroneous data about where I Am Javi is, not knowing where this Diana is popping up on the map, as she's actually in top lane right now, and Javi could look for a gank onto a egregiously positioned Arthur Dent, who's just gotten slowed up. Shavir is very close to that. Meganar will be popping it soon. Arthur Dent forced to pop the Ghost already. A Summoner Spell down as Javi gets a nice chunk of damage. Likely not going to finish this kill, but still nicely used as this sort of ambiguous positioning on the map ends up paying off for Team Ambition Blue.
Yeah, Arthur Dent actually doing very well as to immediately jump on Severe there, and that kind of stopped the engage, or any kind of engage that could have happened, really, especially with Javi missing that Q. But Arthur Dent doing a lot of damage, like I was talking about, even just with a shield with that Q, bringing Severe down about 25% health before he had to back off. So it was a 1v1, and Arthur Dent had free reign to get out of there. Did have to pop the Ghost, but I think that is worth it for your life, and especially for First Blood.
Reset from Wind Trading in the mid lane, who is just now taking their first step back, ends up picking up the Zerkers, and this is just as the dragon spawns as well. Mountain Drake up first, with Vizzy and Bondi having free reign to start to shove this in. I'm looking at Cade to the 4th and wondering whether Glue Eaters are going to try and take this one a little bit earlier.
If Cade so far just kind of power farming, not really showing. He did sit around the mid lane there, hopefully wanting Wind Trading to push up. That did not happen, so kind of just sat there for a minute, took his back, and now is back into the jungle with that Sheen, moving down towards the bot. Bot lane now getting some cryo before this dragon as well. Vizzy and Bondi stacking up a huge wave into Dubs in Israel.
This is so big. I like that Dubs is recognizing what's going on and trying to counteract it, but there's backup on the way. Cade at the 4th and Zelius are coming down. We could see a tower dive in the making. Javi is here for the counter gank, but are you well prepared enough? Just now spotted as the stun comes in. Dubs and Israel take a winning fight on one side, but Javi is forced to flash underneath the tower on the other. Ignited as well. Level 6 having just come in for this Diana, but Vizzy is isolated and alone, and Dubs is all over him, flashing forward. Will we see a kill here? Dubs doesn't quite have the damage yet. Now is overextended. As fast as you are, this Nyla shouldn't be able to get out. A nice double stun from Israel, though, and a flash forward into personal space ends up claiming first blood on Dubs.
And Dubs just saw blood and tunnel visioned onto an Ezreal when he knew 3 members of Glue Eaters were behind him. That was just the strangest chase I've seen so far. I don't quite understand it, but very nice for Glue Eaters. They're going to prep around this Drake more than likely. Or maybe not. Looks like they might just be backing off of it, despite having a very healthy mid and jungler. They're just going to give that up for now, let that sit, and come back to it later. But overall, nice pathing there from Zelius as well. Not sure how much of it was picked up, but Javi didn't see them walk into that bush because he walked out of the bush. They were kind of back and forth on it. And by the time Javi walked into the bush, they were already there, chunked down about 25% of his health, and he can no longer do anything there. So it was very nice pathing for Cade and for Zelius.
Yeah, and a really nice map read and good setup on really every bit of that. This was what we were hoping for from Glue Eaters in Game 1, where Team Ambition Blue seemed that little bit further ahead. It's just, I want to say, a little bit more gumption from Glue Eaters that has brought this 4-man play into the opposite side of the map from where it was in Game 1. Speaking of top lane, however, where we saw the 4-man play just last game, Arthur Dent's actually having a pretty good time. Check out that CS.
Almost double over Severe right now. Just about 30 right now. 2.5 waves. Severe gonna be able to bring it up by a little bit. Oh, or initiation in the mid lane.
Bondi had found a double stun to start this off, and now even Diana Yasuo cannot find their way out of this. Wind Trading has to burn the flash to survive, and even after the moonfall, not much you can do. Busy seems to be experiencing a similar thing on the spot side, though, as that's going to be a welcome trade for Team Ambition Blue. Their second kill of the game, and onto the Nyla, who we know can really throw a wrench in your plans.
Yeah, I think Vizzy there was too busy following his ult into the top side without realizing he was walking face first into dubs in Israel. Because in the bot, he ulted from tower, and then when we went back to it, he was face first in front of them. So I'm not sure what happened there, but it was a great ult from bot to hit 2. He get 2 assists off that, helped his teammate score the double on Cade to the 4th there. He's now potentially going for a dive on a Severe under this tower here.
No Meganar, just about halfway to it, and he and Arthur Dent should be able to find this kill, but with the needlework missing and the flash from Severe, overextending on this could cost you your life. Dent with a nice disengage using the hallowed mist should be just fine, and even Cade the 4th gets to pop that clone to get out. We'll watch this ult though, as we do get the last breath coming in for a second. Gnar into the wall as well, and we might be able to find a kill back. Severe barely picking that up, but in comes Zelius with the snipe from downtown. The Shadow Surge does work, and Dent is here to back him up. 2v1, not gonna go Wind Trading's way, as a double kill gets picked up by Zelius.
That ultimate from Zelius barely clipping Severe over that wall as he jumps over. Ends up landing at a couple more kills, 2 kills on the Zelius now.
We've got a Diana on the flank. Moonfall's available. Vizzy not going to be able to get out of this. The knockup comes in. Nice tempered fate. Has it saved your Ezreal? The stun certainly will. All right, Bondi. Flash onto the Ezreal again. Dubs wants to pick up this kill and will be able to underneath the tower. In comes the invulnerability from the Taric as well. The Cosmic Radiance buying enough time for Dubs to pick up yet another kill and barely get out alive.
This is just an action-packed game all across the board. 3 kills into the hands of Nyla, 2 onto Severe up top. I want to just do a quick rewind all the way into the top there. Wind Trading, queuing the clone to get the tornado to jump on a Cade, but then a nice initiation from Zelius with the counter, and then moving into the bot lane to Javi, missing the Q, but then landing the Moonfall. Nyla with the dash forward ultimate to pull Ezreal back. Bondi had a great tempered fate, followed by the stun. Then we had Israel with a flash stun with the dazzle. So much being just used around the map for a couple kills. Nobody is ahead. It's still dead even in gold, despite the kill difference, despite the dragon difference. There's so much happening on the map.
There really is, and it shows no signs of slowing down, especially because Bondi's Temper Fate is almost off cooldown. Shadow Surge doesn't quite find its mark, but Zelius is still able to stall out this Yasuo from joining in the fight. And Blue Eaters have set themselves up with a lot of priority in this Dragon side river. Unfortunately for them, there's no dragon here for the next, I want to say, 2-3 minutes yet?
Yep, about 2:45, 2.5 minutes or so. Not a whole lot to be doing in the bot side, but they did get some plates off of mid there, which is pretty good for their overall gold. Only going to get them about 300 ahead now, so not a whole lot gotten for that Rift Herald. Because you really couldn't hold it for Drake, right? There wasn't a whole lot of time on it, but not the best use of it, I would say. At least you get some plates off it, though. Zelius doing pretty well, going to be able to snowball into the late game. Has that Everfrost already. Wind Trading still just sitting on a pickaxe with a Vamp Scepter and almost completed Berserker Greaves.
Remember that we said 2-item spike is where TA Blue want to get to as well. So the fact that we're not even on 1 item yet is pretty darn worrying. Israel getting caught out is going to get taken down. Unfortunately, Bondi getting that kill. The AP carry Bard is still a dream for the future. Cade to the 4th tanks up a few tower shots, but ultimately it's just Dubs' flash burned and a nice bit of wave priority. Zelius roaming down for this as well. He's got a play going off on the top side with Arthur Dent. I wanted to say likely getting it out alive, but Hallowed Mist isn't buying him that much time. Barely. 1 HP left, 44.
Wow,
and
he
he's alive.
Is out of it. Still making good moves. If he dies there, then it's not really worth sending the 4 bot and getting that 1 kill onto Israel. But Arthur Dent survives by the skin of his teeth. And is able to back here. Going to be able to get back into lane. Doesn't have the TP. Is down the TP over Severe, who probably won't use TP to get back to lane, depending on where the wave state is and where it freezes. It'll be right around the middle. But very nicely done up top. Doing a tremendous job compared to last game. Still 30 CS up. Has that Leeching Leer. Going for that Rift Maker. Severe still working towards his first item, but is by no means down and out of this game.
Not at all. I'm taking a look at the items right now, and Blade of the Ruined King picked up for wind trading. I want to say delaying that real Yasuo power spike kill. Maybe even the third item, though, will give him a nice one now. That end game that we all know Yasuo for is going to be a while coming yet. He's also opted out of the Zerkers that we saw earlier and into just the brown bags to make sure that this spike ends up going as planned. You've got to imagine this is for the Dragon coming up in 15 seconds. This is where TA Blue are going to need to make a stand, and they've only got 2 flashes, one on Wind Trading, one on Severe. Can they even go for this?
I don't know if they can. I mean, all ultimates are up, but I like to say that Blue Eater's ultimates early on right now are just better. They've got the Wukong ult, they've got Temper Fate, they've got the True Shot Barrage. Zelius is in the back line right now. Cade's hanging around. The only person not there is going to be Arthur Dent. Severe can TP into this. Has the upgraded TP right now. So it could be a 5v4 if they move down onto it. But they are moving on this Dragon right away. You've seen Pixel Bush set up. Temper Fate maybe a little bit early.
Certainly so, but we'll give Cade the opportunity to get the stun. Has to use the clone defensively, and this teleport coming in. Severe clutches that one up as it buys his team enough space to be able to pick up the smite on the Infernal Dragon. That's 2 Drakes now over to Team Ambition Blue. Despite their slightly weaker mid-game, they're still putting themselves in a position where we could easily have them finding Soul by around the 21-minute mark.
Absolutely, although if a fight comes out here and it goes not the way they want to, we might not see that. Flashed over the wall by Zelius. I think they could take that fight, if I'm honest. I will say around that Drake, I would have liked to see. I think there's a skirmish in the bot lane, but I think Dunsbuck is so good.
No, you were right.
In the Dragon, after the Tempered Fate was used, I think I would have liked to see Zelius use ultimate, Cade use ultimate immediately, because Zelius could have hit a 5-man fear off the back of that Tempered Fate, and that would have just gone perfectly in their way. They would have had another Drake.
Classic breath. Very nice stun after that as well. Vizzy couldn't quite get away, and now getting knocked up, has to burn the heal. Still might make it out, but Javi snipes him out with the Crescent Strike. Bondi looks like he's going to get away, and keep in mind, Zelius is coming in from the side, has that Shadow Surge available, so Israel does have to be careful, but we should see the wave cleared, and not too much damage done, even though you lost your escort.
Yeah, and right there, Javi saving the day for Wind Trading, who tried to flash Q, but was just a little bit wide on the Q part of that. Javi ends up landing that Q, moving now up into this Rift Herald. Not a whole lot of contesting around this here. We're seeing Bard rolling around, grabbing some chimes in the jungle. Maybe fighting Nyla down there around that blue here. Will he be able to get out? Is the question, or will Dubs even chase him? No. But that Rift Herald's going to go right into the hands of Javi now. Where he decides to drop it, that is left to be seen. You got 3 minutes on the Dragon, so you can't really hold it for that. Do you drop it top, where there's not a whole lot of prio, you're down 40 CS, or do you drop it mid, where it's relatively even? I think are the 2 questions. I don't think you drop it top.
Do you think you have time to do what TA Blue did last game, where they go, all right, well, I know that Blue Eaters have set up Dragon, but we're just going to drop Rift Herald and take it away from them?
I don't know that they have the time for it, unless they like drop it in base and Rift Herald takes a little bit of time to walk to it. They might be right on the edge of it, time-wise.
Yeah.
To where they could get it. I'd like to see once we get closer to it, if they're still holding the Rift Herald, we'll be able to know for sure.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't know if they can make that call. Obviously, they have a little bit better recognition on the timing of it for themselves. So they're probably talking about it. Oh, nice catch here. Javi, you gotta start landing those Qs, bud.
Yeah, unlucky. You know, not able to take down Javi there. Burnt the Guardian off of Israel as well. Keep yourself relatively healthy. One things you got to worry about now that you've given up all that priority is that win trading's pretty far up, and I actually, yeah. By the time that I finish that sentence, there's not really a way out for this Yasuo anymore. Still got 1 minute 45 until this dragon, and he's not going to be able to find a kill here. But he'd rather you die sooner than later because you want to be able to make it into that fight. That's what it's all about. Rift Herald does get used in the meantime, though, and this is a trade that I really don't mind for TA Blue. They got the first tower, and now we'll see what this team fight looks like. Shadow Surge just landed, in he goes, finds that stun, and in comes the Cosmic Radiance as well. TA Blue are unkillable, and the same cannot be said of Blue Eaters. The nice thing is they've got the numbers here. No kills have actually fallen just yet. TA Blue were able to get out. Dubs is still alive, and Arthur Dent is on the side trying desperately to find a kill onto Hobby, but he and Severe are fighting it out. The snip not enough against Severe, who flashes away now, but Busy comes in right after him, finding that final Mystic shot to pick up the only kill of that entire fight.
Yeah, so many abilities whiffed during that entire fight there between both teams, but yeah, TA Blue just overextending their welcome in that jungle, and Blue Leaders make them pay for it, taking a nice lead right now, about 2k gold, 2 kills, and potentially the first dragon for themselves coming up here in about 27 seconds, although everybody is going to be up for it. No real ultimates up after that fight, though, and win trading.
That's dragon
trading over here.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as he walked into that brush, we all knew. Take a look at the ultimates as well. Cosmic Radiance isn't going to be up in the next 5 seconds, so no real shot at being able to take a team fight, especially at a numbers disadvantage. Arthur Dent is up towards the top side, but he's got teleport to join in with the rest of the team, and this should, by all accounts, be a Glue Eater's Dragon.
It should be. There should be no reason that they don't take this. They have Tempered Fate available. They have the Zellies up as well. Arthur Dent pushing on the top side. No one's really around it, so they will pick up this first Ocean Drake. If they're able to get 4 Ocean Drakes into a soul, that'll be massive for them. The amount of healing that they'll have into their team will be crazy. Arthur Dent potentially in trouble.
Level 12.
Not at all.
Yeah, level 12 Gwen looking pretty solid right now. The dragon taken away. TA Blue, they were put in a position where they had to worry a little bit. What on earth? Okay, maybe I've been out of League of Legends for too long. Maybe I'm missing something. Why are there 2 Bami Cinders?
Yeah,
on
Yasuo and Diana both go Frostfire or Sunfire, whichever one. That is just the build. You go tanky. Oh, Arthur Dent can get jumped on.
That's toxic. We're gonna, I guess, see if he's tanky enough. Doesn't look like it though. I gotta be honest. 3 people on him. There's not a whole lot you can do right there, even with the Rift Maker. Since we've got this giga toxic team comp, and we did see 2 people bot, there is actually a shot they better to take this, despite the fact that they shouldn't have a whole lot of damage. They definitely got the heals. You gotta watch out for the smite from Cade though.
Yeah, 4v2 in the top lane. Cade can go in with a dash ultimate smite for the steal. Did a little bit earlier, Tempered Fate only gonna hit 1. Coming early.
They know they gotta take down Cade to the 4th. In comes the Cosmic Radiance though, and it's going to be just enough to make that a 1-for-1. Zelius flashing away over the wall, but now no Cosmic Radiance, leaves Bondi alone, and unfortunately, he's a bard, he doesn't have that much health. Hobby's still up, but the Baron has reset. And you've actually done your job as Glue Eaters, making sure that this didn't end up going down. You trade 1 kill extra away, but it's not that bad. It's really not.
Yeah, unfortunately, Arthur Dent couldn't really roam onto that fight. Didn't have the ultimate available to really finish that off and get the slows down. But good initiation there by Cade. Decently trading that 1-for-1. I think win trading is just trying to hit that 0-10 power spike as you do on the Yasuo. He'll get there eventually. Still out farming Zelius at the moment, but Zelius 2-6. Very strong at the moment, working towards their second item after that overthrow.
I really like the prioritization from TA Blue after the Cosmic Radiance as well, recognizing exactly what you did, that it's really Zelius that's the problem, and they all just walk towards him, force him to flash out over the wall, and then get to turn around and take care of business. Unfortunately, it doesn't net them an objective of any kind, and as we're coming up on this 25-minute mark is going to be really what we're looking at next, especially for the Dragons. You gotta wonder whether these next item completions, especially for people like Gwen and Wukong, are going to be enough to start to shift the tides of battle.
Yeah, I mean, Wukong should be a big one. He's going that Merc skin. So that should be a pretty big pickup for him to stay alive in these fights. Severe. Missed that Gnar, but here comes Hobby.
Does force the Hallowed Mist now as they re-engage from Hobby using the Moonfall is enough to give them that kill. It is going to be a well-timed one as well, since it opens up the Baron. They've got double wave pressure in top and bot, but they are missing out in mid in a big way. Glue Eaters have decided, you know what, take the Baron. We are going to take down that tier 2 and now turn around and see if we can find a fight.
And actually, that's not even the item. It's not Merc skin. I can't remember the name of that item. But Tempered Fate comes down. Nicely used. Back Salt, gonna miss.
This is bad for Zelius. He's got no instant way to access the fight now. Gotta wait for Cade to the 4th to engage it, but the healing from Tarek is quite a bit inside of this pit. We've still got Cosmic Radiance available as well. Severe unable to get out over the wall, but instead jumps right onto Zelius, isolating him as Cosmic Radiance comes in, and Cade does a whole lot of nothing. Finally helping Busy take down Severe. Zelius is still waiting in the wings, so throws in that damage on the Vex and picks up a double kill, making it a 3 versus 2, where Wind Trading, unfortunately, is going to be left alone as the Baron must survive, and Hobby will be the only one to hold it.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was talking about when I was saying the ultimates from Diana and Yasuo should be used pretty cohesively. Wind Trading didn't get an ultimate off in that fight, so wasn't used at all. Severe, unfortunately, jumping on the other side of the wall while Cosmic Radiance was coming down, so he didn't get that ultimate. Glue Eaters are looking fantastic this game, taking advantage of a lot of shortcomings, but also just finding their footing in this game, being able to use what little, kind of objective power they're getting, and scaling that into a bigger and bigger lead as time goes on. They are down to about a 200, still 300 gold lead at the moment, though, but our spikes right now is where they are massively ahead.
I really want to give a big shout out as well to 2 of the biggest difference makers from last game. Zelius, of course, on the Azir was great, but on this Vex has looked really good, and Bondi has stepped it up. Those Tempered Fates, they are really disrupting TA Blue on everything.
Oh yeah, even though some of them may come out a little bit early before a fight is really ready to come out, like I was talking about earlier, you'd like to see the Wukong ultimate right on top of it, it's still just stopping TA in their tracks from whatever they're trying to do and putting a lot of pressure on them and letting leaders get centered around the fight that's coming around here. Now, that Tempered Fate, not quite.
Zelius stepped up a little too far for it, and it's likely going to cost him his life. Cosmic Radiance ends up going down, as does the Vex, but now it's a big cooldown, and Arthur Dent is on the flank. We do have a Baron in the hands of TA Blue, and it looks like it's enough to take down this inhibitor tower. Focus on the inhibitor now, and Glue Eaters simply are not in position. Cade just now, finally in a spot where he could hit him up with the Cyclone, but no actual space given. Glue Eaters are not going to get the chance to answer this back. Perhaps Terran falls here. Stun does follow him up, but Israel is still alive, and Arthur Dent is the one that's ended up going down. Cade now on these wolves is like, is it even a good idea to go in? I'm on full vision. So you give up a kill, you give up the inhibitor, but you get the dragon. It's a trade that Glue Eaters entered. You think they're happy at the end of it?
I would say yes. I mean, 2 oceans are great, but at the same time, there should have been no real way that TA was allowed to do what they just did. Like, they take, what, 3 turrets and an inhib?
Shadow Surge.
But they're going to lose this fight.
Ends up connecting, double fear, and the Cyclone. The last breath is answered back. Wind Trading going down the middle of it, though. The Shadow Surge again connects onto Dubs, brings Zelius that much further forward, and a nice magical journey by Bondi slows up Severe. We're going to be getting kills funneled into the Glue Eaters. That's 1, 2, 3,
Nice.
4. And the net for the 5th ends up coming in. We finally got our ace for the blue side in game 2.
A massive, massive fight for Glue Eaters there off of what was not a great play. They gave up a lot during that fight, but TA end up overstaying their welcome and lose horribly for it. 5 kills immediately. on to the side of Blue Eaters here. There's nothing else to pick up, though, is the only issue. They're pushing top as best as they can, but they have no wave state in the bot. They have no wave state in mid. They might not even pick up a second tower off that, but I think they're relatively happy with 5 kills and 1 tower. They're now about 1.8k ahead of TA Blue here. Still a very, very close game, especially if TA are allowed to just continue sieging like they have been and taking these objectives.
Yeah, I mean, with the gold as it is, it may not be a massive difference, but gold doesn't lie, and it translates into the items really well. We haven't gotten the scaling completely off the ground for TA Blue just yet, because we are starting to hit our 3rd items for hobby and win trading. So when I say we haven't gotten it off the ground quite yet, I do mean just barely not gotten it off the ground. But it is still, I think, a lot of hope for Glue Eaters as their composition also scales really well, and Vizzy is getting more powerful by the second. Zelius isn't going anywhere, and Cade, I think, is in the same boat as Vizzy, where he just becomes even more unkillable and throws out even more damage. These Cosmic Radiances have to be on point for TA Blue, because we can still see these team fights slipping out of control.
And win trading's 4 deaths off of one-shotting everyone. Arthur Dent in major trouble up here on the top side, but now he's kiting towards his team. He might actually turn this around with his team if they play this correctly. Nars on the bot side has the TP available. Baron's up in a minute. If they take a bad fight around here, they could lose the Baron plus the game. If a good fight goes their way, they take Baron. They probably start pushing into the top side to look to push down some inhibs, while Severe right now is pushing in the bot for a tower.
Yeah, for that misstep, right, it's going to cost you a lot of tower health. I'm surprised they didn't even stick around to see the tower fully executed, but there's no vision bot, and a nice reset is going to come through from TA Blue with that time instead, setting them up for what we can hope to be a Baron play in the next 30 seconds. They've already got the ghost out of Arthur Dent. The needlework is going to be up by the time this next fight hits, and there's no flash on Zelius or on Vizzy. Even Bondi finds himself without mobility. If TA Blue can find a nice position here, a lot of these carries don't have a way to escape the death ball that TA Blue becomes.
They just need to be able to take this Baron quickly, though. Dragon's up in 50 seconds. No vision, as we're seeing, around this Baron, so they have no idea where they are. They have kind of a glimpse of what side of the map they're on, though. They're still back in mid. Now we're going to have Baron and Dragon at the same time. Temperately comes down.
Teleport on the flank as well. Dubs is isolated and should be taken down. Cosmic Radiance is buying a lot of time, though. The heals are enough. Dubs is still up, and Arthur Dent has shown up. Perhaps a little bit too late. Severe ends up healing for the back line as Arthur Dent, now isolated in the front, is going to be taken down. Needlework does so much damage, but it simply cannot solve the problem. Glue Eaters have lost 3, and TA Blue are knocking on the door.
It should be illegal for Dubs to still be alive right now. He was so low. Got the heal, got the Cosmic Radiance, able to survive and pick up a couple kills in the process. Now they're going to make their way up to Drake. A nice snipe with that 2-shot barrage. Get some damage down. Don't know if it'll be enough, but they may try to go take a Dragon if they can. Just Barn and Ezreal have a win trading, is hovering. Baron's down already. If they even try to take this Dragon, this may be really lost on them.
Got a lot of damage on Ezreal. I'm actually not sure. I'd like to see how low this is going, because Dubs, Hobby, and Israel are coming over. Severe's actually been able to buy a lot of time, and it wasn't that close.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
I want to say it was, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I thought it was maybe down about 1,500 or something like that. I'm like, all right, that's close, but seeing that, I guess it was worth it because they both got out scot-free. But kind of just leashed that Drake. If they just left that up and didn't start it, the rest of their team maybe could have gotten to that Drake in time to contest it if they really wanted to. However, instead, Drake first Ocean now goes over to TA Blue. 3 Drakes in their pocket. They're going to be sitting on Ocean Point. And now it just comes down to where they want to go. No objectives on the map for another 4.5 minutes to 5. Probably just want to split up, go top, mid, and bot, start sieging and taking down these objectives.
I mean, especially Severe would really like to have access to the side lane. I will say that he doesn't have teleport, though, so there is a chance that Glue Eaters find themselves in numbers advantaged fight. Even that, however, Seems like it's slipping out of their control as there's some nice vision being laid down preemptively by TA Blue, making sure that their flanks are warded, win trading, even popping over by the Wolves just to check that nobody is there. Wave crashing in top, you're buying a little bit more time. You do want to get these crashing at the same time. These are diamond teams, and they're not going to let these towers, these inhibitors, go down without a fight.
Especially not into a Vex and an Ezreal with quite a bit of wave clear on their side. That's why you want to start splitting. Look at the bot lane wave that's sitting down there for you. Look at the top lane wave that's up there that you can start pushing with this Baron. Instead, they're pushing as 5 into the mid. I don't know if they take a full 5v5 too well. If a nice Tempered Fate lands, like, the leaders are by no means out of this game. They can still take a very nice fight. Just look at the whole state of the game right now. Not even on towers, but still relatively close off of just one team fight. Like, one team fight still breaks open both of these bases, depending on, you know, who wins it.
I like what's going on right now, though. Wind Trading has managed to get a wave crash in the mid lane and does some serious damage to the inhibitor. We did have those ones landing at the same time, and Busy Arcane shifting forward does make me sweat just a touch, but I think we're going to get another nice wave crash and hopefully a tower falling. This is actually being really well managed by Glue Eaters, and TA Blue can't quite get these minions in the right place at the right time, so perhaps a tier 2 is all they get for this Baron.
Yeah, not a whole lot off this power play. Like I said, like, someone go top. You don't need to do all 5 in the same place. You have to hold pressure around the map. So you can really, oh my god, that was a 4-man moonfall.
It didn't get last breath. Instead, though, we do have Severe coming in for a moment. The Cosmic Radiance buying enough time for Dubs to pick up a kill. So Moonfall did its job. Now, can you finish the game off of it? Baron buff has expired. You've got no shots, I imagine, at cleaning up the rest of this. Instead, the team is separated. What can you even go for right now? Israel finds a nice stun. We're not committing to anything. Instead, TA Blue, we're hovering between saving the rest of their squad and picking up the bot lane tower. They commit a little bit too late, and now you're just funneling yourselves into Glue Eaters to pick up kill after kill. Dubs manages to answer one back, flashes forward to try and find a second, just gets shut down over too busy. TA Blue lose control of the game very quickly.
TA Blue subject to a lot of tunnel vision in this game. They get lost in the base of Glue Eaters there. Wind Trading was way behind on leaving. They were one by one running through. Bondi did a great job at stopping them and slowing them under tower, so they would take a lot of damage. But then turning back around to try to save them, I don't think is the play there. I think you just need to get out. You can sacrifice 1 or 2 kills for what you just did. Instead, sacrifice 3, maybe even 4, depending on, you know, how that could have gone. But Bondi still plays that very nicely. Drake's up in less than a minute now. That's probably going to be the next play for both of these teams.
Both of them still very even as well, though I will say the scale-o-meter is going up on TA Blue, and it's going up by a lot. 4 items, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items now complete for Dubs. Basically full build, almost max level, and if you get Dubs, if you give Dubs a chance to pop off in these team fights, to be on top of your backline, he will eviscerate you and heal his entire team while doing it.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in the last couple of fights. You know, he's down to 25% health, 10% health. Then he gets a heal, pops the ult, hits the Cosmic Radiance. Then it's just impossible to kill him, because then you have Javi with the ultimate, with the Moonfall. You have Severe with the Mega Gnar. Wind Trading if he hits the ultimate. So much CC to just allow Dubs to do whatever he wants in the backline. And now, fight getting ready to unfold here. Arthur Dent already in the pit.
Severe's popped himself into Mega Gnar a little bit early, though. It was actually a perfect bar for them, but it puts a timer on their engage halfway through it. Severe's got to find a lot of damage, but you're right.
TP.
This could just be a fake out. Severe's actually going to go for it. Now, all your jobs are, as TA Blue, were to stop the backs. We've got Glue Eaters likely losing the game right now. There's nothing you can do in Cosmic Radiance. Honestly,
just a base race right there. Wow, okay.
Really well played. That was pretty sick. TA Blue, that's a cool 2-0.
Yeah, that was a just very nice awareness of the map and where your minions were for that TP. Glue Eaters, I mean, I don't want to say they had to contest that Drake, but it was sole point. I think maybe you just keep one person back to deal with that wave because that was just free for a TA Blue to just walk in and end the game like that.
It's funny too to see it end like that because I was going into that team fight. I was sweating. I was like, I don't know who's gonna come out on top. I was tracking the cooldowns, the flashes, and none of it mattered.
And
All
then it
that
just
mattered
came
was
down
the
to two
teleport.
TPs.
Yeah,
That was it. It didn't matter that Dubs was super ahead or that Severe popped that Gnar form, the Mega form early.
yeah.
Just ultimate for win trading and for Gnar there. It didn't matter.
I
Yasuo didn't really have to do much that game except for TP to end the game.
I can't think of a better comp to do that as well because this was, as I was very confused about in the early game, a really tanky comp. So stopping the backs is actually super easy for them because you just walk at the other team, and then if you get below half health, just press Cosmic Radiance, and then
Yeah.
just do that for another 4 seconds. Like, it's actually free.
I need to question something because I'm looking at the post after action report, whatever you want to call it.
Match
Does
history?
Bard build Anathema's chains over Knight's Vow?
No.
Like, I mean, he did that. But
He did.
Is there any time that he should? I don't think Bard with Anathema's chains means anything because Bard's just too squishy for it to matter.
Yeah, maybe I don't know what to tell you, Fury.
I don't know, man.
I would love to know who the Anathema's chains was
It
chained
had to be on
to.
Dubs, right? I would
I
imagine.
guess. I guess.
I think that's the only person it could be on, just because of all the damage. But I think at the point where you can build third items Anathemas after boots, Nyla's already 4 items in, right? Almost full build.
Yeah.
So regardless, if it's on her, she's still one-shotting you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just had to question that. I'd ask. I'm not
Yeah.
a Bard player. I don't know that he does or does not build it, but still overall, I mean that was a ridiculously close game for Glue Eaters until it wasn't. But the gold was within 1.5K the entire game.
Mm-hmm. A much better one for them, and I think that the turnaround from game 1 to game 2 actually says quite a bit about this team's potential in Blue Otter Diamond because they were able to change so much between their first and second games. It was a lot of it on counter picks, or not counter pick, comfort picks as well. Bondi and Zelius going back to the Bard and the Vex respectively, which looked really good. You can see the dream coming together for this team, but they're lacking a little bit of identity around where they actually want to commit, because at this point I'm looking at the roster and I don't see their game plan as being solid enough that they can run everyone succeed. They have to pick
Right.
1 or 2 lanes that need to succeed for them.
Mm-hmm. You either need to go strong side top or strong side bot. Game 1 was obviously supposed to be a strong side top and just ended up not going that way. Game 2, I think, should have also been a strong side top if you're picking Gwen. And then you're picking Ezreal in the bot lane with Bard. You're playing safe bot so your mid top can scale. Mid did that just tremendously. But it didn't go that way yet again in the top lane. Cade did exceptionally in the jungle though this time around comparatively to game 1.
Yeah.
So getting mid up did well. Getting bot lane up, we saw how that went with how Nyla did. Early on it was fine. Later on, not so much. But they do need to find how their playstyle is gonna fit into the coming weeks. Game 1, week 1, I think is all about just feeling out your opponents.
Yeah,
That's all.
Just real quick as well, I really appreciate that TA Blue were confident enough to be able to pull out the Nyla, because we were kind of questioning that in draft phase, thinking that, well, it looks good here, but I'm not sure whether they'll actually be able to do it. And they did it quite well. I was really having a good time watching Doves on the Nile, and I hope that we get to see it again in future weeks of BOL
Sure.
Diamond. As that's what we've got to look forward to. Is next week we get to see 2 more baller teams going head to head. I look forward to seeing you all there. I look forward to seeing you there, Fury, and hopefully we get some more Nyla. We'll see you guys then. Ciao.
Peace.
Bring it down a notch. Team's turret has been destroyed.